Every morning when you wake up, life gives you a silent opportunity to begin again, to create a day that is calmer, brighter, and more meaningful than yesterday. Sister Shivani often reminds us that happiness is not something we chase outside, it is something we create inside, through the thoughts we choose and the vibrations we radiate. The first thought of the day becomes the foundation of everything that follows. If the foundation is shaky, filled with anxiety, rushing, complaining, or carrying yesterday's burdens, then the whole day becomes heavy without us even realizing why. But if the first thought is peaceful, grateful, and intentional, the entire day flows differently. She explains that most of us start the day by checking our phones, social media, messages, and problems, but that habit steals our inner silence before we even leave the bed. Instead, she says, take the first 5 minutes for yourself and consciously tell your mind, today I choose peace. Today I choose patience. Today I choose happiness regardless of circumstances. This single choice, repeated every morning, starts rewiring the mind. Slowly, your reactions soften, your tolerance expands, and your energy becomes stable. You begin to walk into the world carrying your own weather, a weather of peace that cannot be disturbed by someone else's storm. And this one daily practice, according to her, becomes the starting point of true happiness. Throughout the day, she says, we meet many situations that test our inner strength. Someone may behave rudely, something may not go as planned, a challenge may suddenly appear, or the past may revisit the mind. Most people allow these moments to decide their mood, which means they have given control of their happiness to the outside world. But Sister Shivani teaches that your happiness must never depend on who said what, who behaved how, or what situation came in front of you. Happiness is a personal choice, a daily discipline. She explains that the mind is like a garden, if you leave it unattended, weeds will grow. Negative thoughts, judgments, grudges, insecurities, and fears automatically arise unless you consciously plant calm, acceptance, and compassion. So throughout the day, she encourages creating small pockets of awareness. Every hour, pause for just 20 seconds and observe your thoughts. Am I peaceful? Am I getting triggered? Am I blaming someone? Am I losing control? These micro-pauses calm the mind and prevent emotional overflow. Gradually, the mind becomes trained to respond instead of reacting. And this is where true happiness begins, not when life becomes perfect, but when your inner responses become stronger than external situations. Practicing this every day builds emotional immunity, so that even on difficult days, your stability remains intact. Another daily practice she emphasizes is gratitude, not the casual thank you we usually say, but deep, conscious gratitude that shifts your vibration instantly. Most people wake up and immediately focus on what they lack, what is going wrong, or what has not yet happened. But when you intentionally direct the mind toward what is already working in your life, the mind expands, your energy rises, and your emotional strength grows. She advises that every morning and every night, repeat at least 5 things you are grateful for. It can be the breath you take, a roof over your head, the people you love, the challenges that made you stronger, or simply the peace you experienced for a moment. Gratitude rewires the brain, dissolves stress, and makes you mentally lighter. She says that the universe responds to your inner frequency. When you radiate gratitude, life sends you more reasons to be grateful. When you radiate complaints, life sends you more things to complain about. So she encourages turning gratitude into a ritual. Before eating, pause and thank the food. Before sleeping, thank the day. Before beginning work, thank the opportunity. Before meeting someone, thank the connection. These small but powerful acts, done daily, transform the emotional climate of the mind. Over time, gratitude becomes your natural state, and happiness becomes effortless. She also teaches that emotional hygiene is as important as physical hygiene. Just as we take a bath every day to clean the body, we must also clean the mind every day to remove emotional dust, hurt, anger, jealousy, irritation, and the energy we absorb from people and situations. Without this emotional cleansing, these energies accumulate silently and block our natural happiness. She recommends a simple nightly practice: spend 10 to 15 minutes in silence, reflect on the entire day, and release every heavy emotion you picked up. Visualize the moments that disturbed you and tell yourself, I choose to let this go. Bless the people who hurt you, and free your mind from the burden. This is not weakness, it is emotional strength. She says that the mind works best when it ends the day clean, because it resets itself during sleep. If you sleep with anger or stress, you wake up with the same energy amplified. But when you release everything before sleeping, the next day begins with a fresh, peaceful vibration. Practicing this daily builds emotional discipline and prevents negativity from becoming part of your personality. And gradually, you discover that happiness is not something you search for, it is the default state of a mind that stays clean. Another practice she highlights daily is the power of giving blessings, good wishes, kindness, and pure intentions. Modern life teaches us to take, to expect, to demand, and to desire more. But spiritual wisdom teaches us that true happiness comes from what we radiate, not what we receive. She says that every thought you create becomes an energy you send into the world, and this energy returns to you multiplied. So if you want happiness, give happiness. If you want peace, radiate peace. If you want respect, give respect. If someone behaves negatively, bless them, because your blessing will protect your energy. She encourages that every time you meet someone, silently bless them. I wish you peace. I wish you success. I wish you healing. These vibrations not only uplift others but also purify your own aura. Over time, people feel safer and calmer around you, and your presence becomes healing for others. When you make giving a daily habit, your emotional world becomes rich. Happiness becomes a natural byproduct of the goodness you spread. She emphasizes that you must guard your mind from the noise of the world. Social media, news, gossip, and unnecessary comparisons drain your happiness without you realizing it. She says whatever you consume becomes your thoughts, and your thoughts become your destiny. So every day, be mindful of what you feed your mind. Limit negative content, avoid toxic conversations, and set boundaries with people who constantly complain or criticize. She says that you cannot pour clean water into a dirty glass and expect it to remain clean. Similarly, you cannot fill your mind with negativity and expect peace. Replace mindless scrolling with meaningful learning. Replace gossip with silence. Replace comparison with self-growth. Create a small routine of consuming at least 20 minutes of pure, uplifting content every day, wisdom, meditation, or spiritual knowledge. This nourishes the mind and stabilizes emotions. When the mind is fed disciplined content daily, it becomes stronger than circumstances, and happiness becomes a steady state instead of a temporary feeling. She reminds us that relationships play a big role in daily happiness. Many people wait for others to change, apologize, behave differently, or fulfill expectations, but this waiting steals their peace. She says happiness in relationships requires daily effort, adjusting, accepting, forgiving, and communicating with love rather than ego. Every day, remind yourself that people behave according to their understanding, their wounds, and their emotional capacity. Their behavior is their story, but your response is your power. If someone speaks harshly, choose calmness. If someone misunderstands you, choose patience. If someone disappoints you, choose compassion. These choices do not make you weak, they make you wise. The more you practice emotional generosity every day, the more your relationships become peaceful, and the more happiness flows naturally. When you shift from "why are they like this" to "how can I bring peace into this moment," your entire emotional world transforms. Finally, she teaches that happiness becomes permanent only when you connect daily with your inner self. Spend a few minutes in meditation, not necessarily sitting for a long time, but simply becoming aware of your breath and your original qualities: peace, purity, love, strength. Meditation is not about controlling the mind, it is about observing it gently and guiding it back to stability. She says this daily connection restores your inner battery, the same way you charge your phone. Without this daily recharge, the mind becomes tired, reactive, and negative. With it, the mind becomes powerful, stable, and joyful. When you make these practices, morning intention, hourly awareness, gratitude, emotional cleansing, giving blessings, mindful consumption, relationship harmony, and meditation a part of your daily routine, happiness is no longer something you chase. It becomes who you are. Sister Shivani says, do this every day, and you will not just feel happy, you will become the source of happiness for everyone around you.